Yo, yo, yo. Hey guys, welcome back to another awesome edition of the Best Practices Show podcast. I want you to listen to this episode. This is one of our favorite topics of all time. It's how you use time. Time is the new rich. And today I have an amazing coach of ours on. Her name is Ariel Juday. And we talk about 3 reasons why you need a vacation as a dentist. If you don't have a vacation scheduled, get one scheduled and listen to this podcast and use it. So please listen up. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show podcast. Our jam here, our goal here, everything we do around the podcast is to add value by giving you some great information from some incredible people, great coaches, great leaders, great teachers to help you improve your practice in your life. And today's going to be a great one. This is going to be one of my favorite subjects of all time if you've been listening to the podcast. And I have an amazing coach, Ariel Juday, on. We're going to be talking about 3 reasons you need a vacation. Ariel, thanks for being back. I always appreciate you.
Yeah, I actually just got back from vacation, so excited to be here.
Wow. So you could speak from experience about what this is all about. Now, I want to talk about vacation means different things to different people. Now, one more thing I'll say is if you don't know what we do, we coach great practices all over the country who aren't really broken. They just want to get better. And vacation is a tough one for some of them. So let's talk about why this is such an important topic. Ariel, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess we should first caveat that we're not experts in vacations,
Right.
But we've seen from experience that when our teams and our doctors do take vacation, that they see a lot of the benefits that we're going to talk about. And I think the first one is they're just less stressed, right? And no matter what your vacation looks like you said, it's different to every person, but it really helps lower your stress. I think it gives them a better outlook on work and life. And at least my doctors and for myself personally, they seem more motivated when they come back from vacation.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you go on a great vacation and you hit the mark on what that means for you, you come back and you're a better person. Dentistry is a physical sport. It is. And rest is not a reward. It's a requirement. You work in a 2 to 3 inch space. Most of your days, you have to get away so you come back a better person. Now, let me speak to the other side of it because this subject is a hot one over here at Act Dental. Ange, who I love on our team, she posted an emoji on our team group chat saying there's no vacation like when your boss takes a vacation. And I was like, what does that mean? And she's like, we do love it when you go away because we can breathe. One of the things that you have to understand as a dentist is your team members love it when you go away. They can like you more. So you need a break from dentistry. So we can talk about the why. Now, some of you are like, I can't take a vacation. This thing only works when I'm working. And that is not true. So break this down for us, Ariel. Where do I even start?
Well, I think the first part is we see improved health when we take vacations. And whether that's you're traveling, whether you're staying home and just rejuvenating yourself, but there's actually been studies that say it can reduce depression because you have more of those pleasant emotions, right? And you have a greater opportunity to just have that experience where you're in awe, right? You're in amazement. You're finding things that interest you, right? And it just overall boosts your mood. And I know this is true for me, but I've even heard that, research shows that even planning the vacation can boost your happiness, even up to 8 weeks before the trip. So, I mean, for me, right, it's exciting to plan a vacation. I know not for everyone it's planned, but if they have that friend that's planning it, but I think once it's on the calendar, I at least notice I have something to look forward to.
Totally agree. We call that a future pull. I actually love having a vacation to look forward to. And one of my favorite places is Mexico. So oftentimes when we're in Mexico as a family, I'm booking the next one just so I know that no matter what happens. Now, I live in Wisconsin, so there's a lot of snow here. Sometimes you just got to look forward to something, don't you think? Like, isn't that part of it?
Oh, for me too, right? I know here in Ohio, right? It's not as cold as some places, definitely not as Wisconsin, but same thing, warm weather, right? And for those that are in the warm weather, right, looking for that ski trip, things like that, or even just time to sit and read a book or watch TV or listen to what they want. Some even just, hey, I have time to get some of the things done off my checklist that I've been putting off. Um, I know when you do actually go on vacation, you give yourself that permission, right? They're saying that the quality of sleep and your mood improve because you're more relaxed, right? You're not thinking and processing on that checklist all the time. And I know that if they've had a really good vacation, we always see it with our team members, right? When they come back, they're just overall happier people.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And if you're a dentist listening to this, your first thought is, well, how do I get away? Like, I got to get away from my practice. Listen, I'm here to tell you because we're trying to help you. You can run an amazing dental practice on 48 weeks a year. You totally can. If you can't, there's something wrong with it. Then when you get it to 48 weeks a year, then you go to 45 weeks a year that you're working. Then you go to 40 weeks a year and so on. That's called better thinking. And you totally can. Now, one of your obstacles that you're already putting in your brain is my patients need coverage. I think coverage is the dumbest word that's ever been created. People say, well, I need coverage. I'm like, why do you coverage for what? Coverage for my patients. I'm like, what do they need? Blankets, umbrellas? Like, why? Well, my patients need coverage. No, they don't. You can create a great practice and you have friends. You have a friend that's an oral surgeon. You probably have another friend that's a GP that can cover patients. And the more comprehensive your dentistry is, the less people are calling you all the time saying this broke, that broke, that broke. So I'm telling you, and especially with the help of a great coach like Ariel, she can actually create a budget and a better life planner that you can say, hey, listen, I'm going to work 100 and some days this year. Now, one more thing, because this is one of my favorite subjects of all time. The Health Policy Institute for the ADA recently published their statistics, and the average dentist in the United States works 220 days. That is ridiculous. It's crazy high. Our best producers work in the low 180s or mid 170s, depending on the nature of their practice. So working more doesn't mean it's better. And there's a certain point where more days don't add any value. They just cook you. And you said, give yourself permission. That's my favorite thing. There's nothing better. Now, I have issues. I have a lot of them. So I'm not a good relaxer. I try to give myself permission when I get off that plane in Mexico every single time. And it takes a full day for me to fully grant myself permission. And usually by day 2, I'm fully permissioned to be there, which means I'm not thinking about anything. So keep going with this. Like, Ariel, what else is important for us to know about this?
Well, I want to add on to the fact that you said, right, with the Better Life Planner and the budget, right, is you have to plan it in advance. We do have some teams, right? They take those spur of the moment vacations, and that's okay for some people, but others, right, that actually increases stress. But some of our dentists need that permission to relax because it's planned, right? The patients know that they're on vacation. The team members know that they're on vacation, right? So for me, when I was on vacation, over the long weekend, I wasn't worried about checking my emails because all of my teams, right, and all of our team members knew I didn't come back to an excessive amount of emails because it was pre-planned and everyone knew in advance. So to me, right, I know that some people say, oh, the day back from vacation is always stressful. I think if you plan it in advance and you have good communication, it doesn't have to be.
Totally agree. Yeah, the more planning you do in advance, the less you have to do later. One more thing, if you're a team member listening to this podcast, you can tell your doctor that we gave you permission. Don't answer the phone when a dentist is calling you and you know that they're at the beach. Like, you can hang up on them and you can say, I listened to this podcast and they told me I can, like, don't call the office. There's no reason to call the office. You have to trust that things are going to be done while you're gone. And when you start to do that, everybody feels better and you don't lose the brain space of like being where you are in this whole process. Totally agree. What other things should we know about this?
Well, I think once you're healthier and happier, right, then you'll notice that you have an improvement in your relationships. So I know there's a study showing that, when couples or friends or siblings, right, family members go on vacations and they're participating in different events or activities, they notice that there's different satisfaction when they return home and resuming to the normal life routine. So I think it's a really good thing to remember is whoever you're going on vacation with, right, you're going to build a better relationship. But then also, right, when you come back, you're healthier and you're less stressed. Now it's easier to be a team leader for your team and your patients, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. So we notice that your relationships actually improve because you took time away.
Yeah, I love that. And I could totally piggyback on that. Sarah and I have raised four kids and getting away from everybody else. Now, this is my personal preference, but you don't have to like it. Again, our job is, I don't usually enjoy going on vacation with other families. And I learned that younger because we used to do that. And my kids would play with other kids and we'd go on vacation. And I'm like, I didn't even see or hang out with my children like the whole time because they wanted to be with the other kids. Now I get that. Some of that is important, but what we've always tried to do is sequester time. I like to have dinner with my kids. I like to hang out with my kids and all of that stuff. So part of the relationship part is you're creating neural pathways when you go somewhere physically. Some of you grew up where all you knew was you went to the lake. I don't know. We just went to the lake. We always went to the lake. And while not every one of us had a lake to go to, I certainly didn't have a lake to go to. Like I had a lot of friends every weekend, they went to the lake and they tell magnificent stories about their childhood. Now, do you need a lake house to do that? No, that's not what I'm saying. But the neural pathways that you create as a dentist, when you say, we're going away, we're going to enjoy this, it creates this story that you look back and you don't have any regrets. You're like, no, we did it. Like we did it the right way. Now, I'll give you my internal system, which I didn't think I was going to share, but like everybody's got to have a system. I have the same system every time. So when I'm booking a vacation, number one is the location and the place to stay is the hardest. So I'm usually on VRBO. Like VRBO is the place I start. That's step one. Boom, found it. It's awesome. It's got a private pool. It's next to the beach. Boom. Then I quickly go to next night, maybe the next night I'll do flights. I got flights in and out. Then the next night I do dinners. I'll ask the person at the VRBO, what are the top 10 restaurants? And then try to get reservations at the same time, 7:00, blah, 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 blah. Now we're locked in and it's 6 months in advance. Like don't scramble at the last minute to try to find all these. And then night 4, I'm usually doing transportation back and forth to the airport, which usually it isn't a hard thing. So my point in telling you any of this is you got to have a system. Have a system. It's the same thing. Every time it's just a different location. Ooh, I have one more travel hack. I love this. And I learned this from a flight. I was on a flight with my family and this dad across the aisle from me. He had his Yeti cooler backpack. And I'm watching him pull out his laptop and his headphones out of his Yeti cooler backpack. And I looked at him, I go, dude, that is game changing. He's like, it's totally game changing. I use it as my backpack to get to where we're going. And then I take out my computer and everything. I put it in the hotel and I use it as my cooler back and forth to the pool. I was like, you have just changed my life in one flight. So if you ever catch me on vacation, you're going to see I'm walking through the airport with a Yeti cooler on my back, and I can guarantee you there's a laptop in it, probably a pair of headphones. So I just wanted to pass along that hack. Wait, Ariel, do you have a travel hack or vacation hack at all?
I don't know. I was like, I think just planning ahead, right?
Right.
And I think the thing is just enjoying being on the vacation and not let things stress, right? There's going to be delays. There's going to be mishaps. There's going to be lost luggage. But just remember, you're on vacation.
Right. I
It's
love it.
there could be worse things. So I don't know if it's really a travel hack, but I see some people so stressed in the airport and it's like, or Or, getting on the flight, right? They start boarding and everyone crowds and make, well, we're all going to the same place.
Right.
Or I love when everyone stands up when we land. I'm like, the door's not open yet. I just
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah, totally. And to that point, like one of the things there's a huge benefit to booking a vacation 6 and 8 months or even a year in advance. You now have to go. When you've purchased the flights, you're like, yes, we're just going. And again, if you live in Wisconsin, you know that on spring break, that third week in March, the flight costs are astronomical on Thursday and Friday. You're like, oh my gosh. So if you're booking the flight a year or 6 months in advance, you're not only going to get the best seats, but you're going to get the best fares on the best flights in and out of town. And you can say, no, I'm going. And you can rearrange your work to support whatever is important to you. So I totally get that. Now, another piece of this is you're just going to become a better dentist, don't you think, and a better thinker in this. So there's a third benefit. Tell us about that, Ariel.
100%. I would say the teams that I work with, the ones that actually take time to take a legit vacation and take time to rest and recover and just have some fun, they come back, they have more ideas, they're more motivated, right? They're excited about things. And just the little things just don't get to them as much, right? And I think it goes back to they have less stress, right? They're overall in a better mood. And so when things do come at them, it's not as big of a deal. So I would say the mental motivation, right? Of they're like, okay, I took a break. I'm ready. I'm feeling better. And then we're able to get right back into, either strategic planning or if they're in the middle of a priority, right? And a lot of the time they find that their team just kept the ball rolling.
Right.
Or even better, their team was on vacation at the same time, and the team comes back, and the whole team is like, all right, we're ready, let's go. But I really feel like vacation is a tune up for your brain, right? Your mental health, like your thinking, your whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the theme from the top is really important. So if you're the dentist and you lead your practice, this can't be a selfish thing just for you. You've got to have a system in place for your team members. And it's unique to every practice where you can celebrate them going away, saying, no, you go away. Don't call back here. And so the theme from the top is really, really important. You have to put work in a container, not only for you so that you can go and not worry about it. I'm a big fan now more than ever. Work has to be in a container. We're in a digital age where work comes at us at all speeds. You can actually check your schedule while you're at the beach to see if your team members are filling the schedule next week with the right things. And that is wasted brain space. You should not be working when you're on vacation. While you're working, thinking about vacation. That's a tough spot to be. So really important. Also, when it comes to communication protocols, that's a really important one. When your team members go away, don't text them. After hours, never text them. You should never text them, call them. I do send texts to my team members occasionally, but it'll be on a Sunday and it'll just be, or I just got to get it out of my brain. And I'll purposely write in the text, please do not respond to this. I just wanted to get this out of my head. We can totally address this next week. You just want to give your team members the space to relax, and you want to give yourself space to relax when you come away, because you can come back and you'll be a stronger human being. You can actually see yourself repeating this process over and over and over again. And the older you get, you realize time is the new rich. Let me say that again. Time is the new rich. I don't care how much money people make. You only get so many days. And so make sure you're spending these days appropriately. And I can always hear the voice of the great Peter Dawson, who said, blue time is the most important time in your life. And I asked him, I go, what's blue time? He goes, Kirk, the most important moments of your life will never happen at work. You'll have a few moments that are great and you'll remember those, but your most important time will be when you're away doing things that matter to you. And I love to call that blue time. I'm like, thanks, Pete, for that. So make sure you schedule a lot of blue time in your schedule. Now, one more thing, caveat. CE and vacation are not the same thing. And I'm talking to you as the dentist who's listening to this driving to work. I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, yeah, we take a lot of vacation. I took my spouse to this symposium last year and it was at the beach. Like, okay, listen, if you're in a room taking CE and your significant other or spouse is at the pool, that is not a vacation. That's called resentment. While that's nice and that's tax deductible in some cases, your head is somewhere else. And yes, you're getting energized, but you're not saying to your significant other, you're the most important thing in my life. So, like when you go away, call it out. We're going away. When we're going to CE, say, we're going to CE. Do you want to come? You know what I mean? So, like, I think it's important that we don't muddy the waters when it comes to our time. Don't you agree, Ariel?
I agree, because I just actually, a couple months ago, I went to Boston for CE, and then I said, well, I'm going to turn it into a long weekend since I'm there, do some sightseeing. Super great time, loved it, and it just wasn't the same, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, I learned a lot, and then I was able to transition to sightseeing, but this last weekend felt completely different, and it's like, oh yeah, because I worked last time.
Yeah.
And it really does have a difference on just the way your mind feels, right? The way you're processing it. So you have to make that separation. And like I said, if you're there and you want to turn it into some sightseeing, go for it. But don't call it a vacation. Don't trick yourself into that because it's not the same and your body doesn't recover the same.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many things. I can't remember who said this, and I wish I knew, but I went to an amazing conference and there was a great speaker there. And he said, make sure you take care of the moments and then the years will take care of themselves. Now think about that. He was like, don't get in your head about, like, oh, I got to do this. Like if you really sequester the best moments of your life, years will fly by and you go, no, that was awesome. And so when it comes to like doing something that's memorable or easy, make sure you always pick the most memorable things and say, no, I'm managing an incredible moment here. And the other thing I would say too, one more last travel hack. I don't know who I remember this from, but they always said, take a lot of photos. And because your kids, if you have kids, will remember the photos more than the actual experiences themselves. And so I've always like given the camera and wanted to take the photo. And I remember growing up, there's not a lot of photos of my dad. There's a handful, but like not a ton of them because he was always taking the photos. So now I'm very diligent about giving my phone to strangers. That's a whole nother conversation. Say, take this photo. And my family's like, no, please don't. But what's really funny is if you organize them in Google Photos, and I do them by month. So I'll go August of 2010, all that. They'll go back and go, wow. And to date, there's probably over 200,000 photos in there. And I just want them, whatever happens, to look back and go, when did we do that? Oh my gosh, look at that. So make sure you leave evidence behind you that it was a great ride. So just some other thoughts. Now, there's some other final takeaways that you have, Ariel, that I think are really important. Give us some final takeaways.
Well, I think as we're saying, right, is take a vacation. And whatever vacation means to you, it's not the same, right? Not everyone's going to want to go to the beach, right? Not everyone's going to want to go on a ski trip. And I say, even if it's a staycation, now I caution, if it is a staycation, still make it a vacation, but you don't have to go anywhere. Some of the best time off I've had is just staying home and doing nothing or not having an agenda. Right. So plan out. And I think also is take different types of vacations throughout the year. Right. You said you don't like traveling with other families, and that's perfectly fine. Right. Sometimes take your kids. Sometimes it's just your wife. Hey, you may even want to go on a vacation by yourself. Right. Because there's things you and your wife don't want to do together, and she may want time by herself. Right. So just take the time away. You have to, the daily life and the stress, you have to get away from it. So that way you can actually come back and just be better at it, right? Improve your health, improve your relationships, your performance. And I think really just your overall perspective.
Yeah, I love that. That's probably my favorite takeaway of the whole podcast episode, Ariel, is like, there's different types of vacations. Like I just recently took a staycation that wasn't planned and I actually loved it. I loved being home without an agenda. And that was weird for me. Another thing is like to really understand what recovery means for you. Like some people go on vacations, but they're exhausted when they come back. And I'll give you an example, like a long weekend somewhere. I want to call it out. Like it's a long weekend with friends and family, and it's not really a vacation. It's like a go thing. And I used to think Disney was a vacation. No, Disney's not a vacation. It was awesome, but it was an adventure. I was wiped out once I got back from going to Disney when the kids were little. And just another travel hack. People say, no, I don't need to take weeks off. You know, I do long weekends. For me, I can't relax in a long weekend unless it's with my wife and it's like Napa. That's easy. But like a vacation for me is 7 full days minimum because the first day is a wash and the last day is a wash. You know, I'm just trying to get there. Then I'm folding towels that aren't even ours by the last day and all that kind of stuff. You have to call it out and go, this is what makes me happy or the person I'm going with or whatever. The worst lies that we have are the ones we tell ourselves, not other people. Like, make sure you go, that was a good investment of time. I absolutely loved that, whatever it is. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure Ariel could show you how to do it as an amazing coach. You can totally make this happen. You get one shot at this thing called life, just one. And it's not perfect, but you get to control your days. That's the coolest thing about this amazing profession. There's no rules. There's no board for your town that says, no, you got to be open this week and that week. No, you make the rules. That's what's so cool. Any last thoughts you have, Ariel?
I think just if you don't have a vacation planned, please plan one. Get it on the schedule.
Yeah. And I'll go back to, I love that. I'll go back to what I always said, you know, part of your reason to become an entrepreneur, become a dentist was ultimately you wanted the freedom to choose how to treat people, freedom to choose how to work, freedom how to, you know, what to do, how to do it and spend your days. And becomes an important component. You have to recover from this sport called dentistry. So awesome. Ariel, thanks for being here. I always love having you on the podcast. So cool. Stick around while we say goodbye to everybody else. But thank you guys for listening to the Best Practices Show. Hey, if you enjoyed today, please do us a favor, hit the share button, share this with your friends. Keep sending us suggestions for things that you guys want to see. We've got an incredible lineup that's in front of us. Just always love doing this. We're going to keep bringing it. So until we see you guys next time or you hear from us next time, keep watching or keep listening to the Best Practices Show. You guys enjoy your day.